I saw a comment the other day and I agree with the person who commented. I can't remember your name, but you said until one has gone through infertility, that's the only time they can understand why we talk about it and the pain of the whole thing. So yes, it is true, and that's why I keep talking about it. Yes. So today I know I shared about my story with the infertility I think almost a year ago, and then I promised that I'll give my journey of IVF, how I went. I have given the story about my journey with infertility, and so I promised that I will talk about how I went through the IVF procedure and what came out of it. I don't know why it has taken too long for me to do this, but anyway, here we are doing it. I would just want to be indoors, like completely. Now there you're just there praying God and hoping that all goes well, and you're very hopeful that this time you're not leaving anything, you're not putting anything to chance. Wow, again 2 weeks, you buy the pregnancy test, negative. You think that type of pregnancy test is the wrong one, so you go and buy a different brand. Suzie Yule Diadem, living positively regardless. Doesn't matter the point at which you are in life, but we rock positivity all the way. I am born again, reconciled with Christ, and I am happy of the testimony. And I would want to ask you there, are you reconciled with Christ? That's the only hope we have living this life. Yes. Do you have a story that you think is inspiring and you'd want to share it at Suzie Yule Diadem YouTube channel? Ours is just impacting each other with positive energy, where we give testimonies of victory, of the things that we have gone through in life, and just to make someone else not to give up in life, not to get into depression, because they are thinking like they are not going to make it in life after all that they are going through. So if you have a story that you think, kama si Mungu alikushikiria on that one, you wouldn't be where you are today. So please come. You're able to find me at Suzie Yule Diadem Facebook. You can inbox me there, Suzie Yule Diadem. Suzie Yule Diadem Instagram, you can inbox me there. TikTok, Suzie Yule Diadem. You can also inbox me there. You can also call me 0112 522 118. That number haina 07, haina 7, so ni 011, yes. So 0112 522 118 is the contact that you're able to reach us so that we can plan. And I want to appreciate so much all the guests who have been here. And I also want to appreciate so much the people who are sharing our content, the people who are following us, those who have subscribed, those who are watching even without subscribing. And I'm requesting, if you've not subscribed, kindly subscribe and support my work. Yes. Wow. So what is it about today? Today I'm feeling good because I'm in the studio alone. I'm feeling like I have the whole space. Now I can, Mr. Michelle is not there. I have no guests. So ni mimi natawala huku. So I feel like I can talk anything and everything. Really, Suzie? Anyway, so today I want to talk about the topic I love most. I don't love the bit of having the challenge of infertility, but I love the topic because I know it is something that is happening, it is existing, even if I pretended it's not, or even if I don't like it or like it, it is there. So I like talking about it, so that I try where I can on my side to normalize it, to normalize the issue of infertility. That's what I try, because I have seen people get into depression, people taking suicide, people being killed by their spouses, marriages breaking, and everything bad that you can think of. I have seen just because of infertility. And I'm sure, guys, you have watched several interviews that we have done with different people, and you can attest, anyway, infertility is such a huge burden for anyone to carry. So that's why I like talking about it, so as to try and normalize it. Tujue too, there are people who are able to give birth, or rather there are people who are able to conceive naturally and become mothers and become fathers naturally. And also, we also appreciate that there are people who are not able to conceive naturally, to give birth naturally, to be mothers biologically, fathers biologically. We normalize it. That's why I keep talking about it. And I will keep talking about it because it's huge and it's painful. I saw a comment the other day and I agree with the person who commented. I can't remember your name, but you said, until one has gone through infertility, that's the only time they can understand why we talk about it and the pain of the whole thing. So yes, it is true, and that's why I keep talking about it. Yes. So today I know I shared about my story with the infertility I think almost a year ago, and then I promised that I'll give my journey of IVF, how I went. I have given the story about my journey with infertility, and so I promised that I'll talk about how I went through the IVF procedure and what came out of it. I don't know why it has taken too long for me to do this, but anyway, here we are doing it. So I just want to share about the procedure that I went through IVF. And if you've not watched the gynecologist who took us through the IVF like procedure in terms of from the professional look of it, like what is expected, like who are these people who are candidates for IVF and who are not candidates for IVF, why we need to do IVF and all that. So that one the gyna talked about. So for me, I'm just sharing my personal experience with IVF. Yes. So this is my journey. So like you've already watched previously, I realized that I'm not able to conceive and every other method was not working for me. And so the only option I had at that time is to go through IVF. What is IVF? Maybe to start with, I know the doctor defined that and all that, but IVF generally is where you are assisted to conceive in the laboratory. So me, I'm not using those the medical terms and all those ones. I'm using the layman language. Yenye tunaelewa sisi. The rest I will leave for doctors. So IVF generally is where you're being assisted to conceive in the laboratory, where you're not able to conceive naturally. Like you cannot just go meet with a man and then as a woman and then you're able to conceive. So you go to the laboratory, of course with your partner. Well, you can be with your partner if you do not have their donors. So you can even go to a hospital and you get a donor and they are able to give you their sperms, or the hospital is able to connect you with the donors even if you have no idea of any donor that you have around. So yes, so you can get that part from anybody if you don't have a man in your life that you think is able to help you with their sperms. Yeah, so for my case, of course, I was married by them, and so I had a sperm donor. Okay, so after we realized that I'm not able to conceive naturally, and I went for IVF. My experience was that the first time I went, of course, the doctor had to take me through the IVF procedure, what is expected of me, and like from step 1 up to the final, because it's on stages. IVF has stages. It's not like you just go one day, go to the hospital and everything is done. It is something that is procedural. So for me, first of all, I'm not so sure whether it is ethical to mention the name of the hospital. So for now, I will not mention the name of the hospital. Or maybe if if it was successful, maybe I would have mentioned it. But no, I'm not sure whether when it is not successful, whether it is good to mention the name of the hospital, because I might look like I'm tampering with the reputation, and maybe it wasn't about the hospital that I was not able to conceive. So allow me not to mention the name of the hospital. So we went and we planned with the gyna, and we were told that I needed to be under medication, or rather boosters, not a real medication, but treatment. Let me call it treatment. That was supposed to boost my production of the eggs. Noting that for me, I didn't have any problems with ovulation. I was ovulating naturally from the test that I had, and so it was just a way of making sure that my sperm, oh sorry, not my sperm, but my eggs were good quality and also good quantity. So they try normally to eliminate any order where you may be, they may get your eggs and then they are not as high quality. So that's why I needed to go through some treatment where I'm given some supplement that are supposed to boost even my generally the key thing was supposed to help me produce quality eggs, and of course now to prepare my body generally, my hormones and everything generally for pregnancy, because remember, I'm doing this so that I can carry a pregnancy. So I was being prepared for all that. So I think I went for a month, and I was, according to the doctors, I was a very good candidate for that, because one, they were telling me I'm young. Yes, I was young. I think I was 20 what? I was in my early 20s. I think I was around 26. I went for my IVF when I was 26 thereabout. So they were telling me my chances were very high because of my age. Then after now the retrieval of the eggs, they said that my eggs were super, like they were very healthy. So my chances of conceiving were very high. The rate of success for my procedure was very, very high. So after a month of all that medication and all that, the treatment and all that, I went back to the hospital. This time you go once, you visit the gyna so that they are able to monitor what is happening, whether your body is responding well, whether your hormones are stabilized and everything, whether everything is okay. For me, I didn't have any single complication. Mine was just smooth. Everything was just happening so well. I remember before then, even my man has also been tested just to make sure that even his sperms are good quality and enough also for their fertilization. So we had been tested and it was okay. Then now I think 2 weeks or a week prior to the retrieval, we were not supposed to meet, to know each other. I hear the Bible saying that Abraham knew his wife, Sarah knew his husband. Abraham knew his wife and conceived. So we were not supposed to know each other, me and my husband, then for the 2 weeks before the retrieval, so that he was also to make sure that the sperms are preserved for that purpose. So now we go the same day when my eggs are being retrieved, is the same day he's also giving his sperms. Imagine by then I even didn't know how. I was so innocent. Was it innocence? Naivety? What was it? I didn't know how. Okay, for me, I was suspecting how I will give out the eggs, how they will be how they'll be corrected from my ovaries, but I didn't have an idea how his sperms are good. In fact, I was thinking that there will be a needle, then and then I didn't know until now when the gyna told us the other day. You saw that, and he explained to us how they collect now the specimen from the man. Yeah, let me use a better language. Yes, from the man. So we went, and of course, for me, I had to be the correction. I think probably it's painful, and also I think uncomfortable, because it was done when I was under anesthesia. But for me later, I didn't feel any pain, so I didn't quite understand the reason as to why I had to be sedated. So I was at anesthesia as I went through the collection, the retrieval of the eggs from my ovaries. So you go, it's a procedure that goes less than 30 minutes. You go, you check, everything is fine, blah blah blah. So they retrieve your eggs, and then now of course the man's sperm also have been taken. So now what they do is they take that to the laboratory and they make them meet and fertilize, because now my issue is that my fallopian tubes are blocked, so there is no chance for the sperm to meet with the egg. So the laboratory actually was supposed to help my ovary to meet with the sperm. So that was done. And then after some time, I think after 2 weeks, not so sure, can't remember every detail, is when now we were supposed to go back, so that now if it was fertilized successfully, it was supposed to be put in my uterus for implantation. So yes, they fertilized successfully according to the doctors, and they are very healthy, and I was put 3 of them, so that just when they are already fertilized, they say they are called embryos. So I was put 3 embryos. In case one fails, maybe I would have twins, or in case 2 fails, I will have a chance of carrying 1 child. So I was excited, I was happy, of course, because I even knew I have a chance of carrying twins and even triplets. If they succeeded zote, I would have carried triplets. So, and the doctors were telling me that my womb was perfect to carry even triplets. So there was no cause of alarm. Yeah, so we were happy. Now, when you're when after the procedure, when they have been put back into the uterus, you're supposed to be very careful. You're not supposed to move, like to be vigorous, like to have any exercise, just to make sure they are still intact in the uterus, because remember they need some time to implant in the uterus. So you're supposed to be careful. So I remember we traveled, then I was living in Naivasha. Driving to Naivasha, you go to at a speed, I think we were using a speed of 20. Pole, so that you don't shake the eggs. So what is that? I think I want I want to visit a gyna to know whether up to today they tell people to do that. So we were going, we were driving at a speed of almost 20. Make sure you don't hit any pothole, like nikwetu just come. And so that's what we did, and we arrived home. From there I was to be at a bed rest for 2 weeks. Yes, so for 2 weeks to allow the implantation to happen. Well, 2 weeks ni za kukula tu, like you're just sleeping, you served with everything good, everything healthy, like a pregnant woman. Yeah, so it was a good time for me to eat well, yes, and to just be stress-free. I remember I used to watch a lot of pregnancy videos, how pregnancy grew from stage of conception, fertilization, fertilization, then now week 1, week 2, that time ungeniuliza, I would tell you. So I was trying to keep track so that I will be knowing how my baby will be growing. So I used to watch a lot of that, because now I'm just at home, peke yangu, watching and all that. And remember, I'm not sick, I'm not having any pain anywhere, so you're just there. 2 weeks, you go back to the doctor, and now my body was giving me all eyes. You're feeling pregnant completely, you're feeling pregnant, you're even starting to hate people. Oh my goodness, so you're very hopeful. Yeah, so I was really feeling pregnant. But now after the 2 weeks, I took a home pregnancy test, and it turned out negative. What? Hey, you take another one, it's turned negative. Now, you're supposed, if you have any doubt, you're supposed to go back to the hospital so that they can do a blood test, which is supposed to be a sure test. So we went back to the gyna, and unfortunately, it was negative. even the blood test. It was negative. A bad moment for me it was then, because I had so much hopes, because the way they prepare you for IVF, you feel like you're already a mother even before. And the way you are reading their brochures there, showing you how many patients have gone through the procedure and how they have succeeded, and then you see beautiful babies on that brochure of the babies that were conceived through the IVF and all that, and you're asking doctor, how old is the first baby who was conceived through the IVF, and they are telling you, oh, they are 20, they are 18, and you're feeling, wow, so this is a sure bet, you know. So, being so hopeful, and then you are told there is nothing. But now the good part of it is that when they had transferred like 3 embryos in my uterus, they had also told us that there are small embryos that remained, and they were to be preserved so that in case the first one fails, I would be able to get another chance for the transfer again. So at least we knew we have some more embryos preserved for us. So again, we started now the preparation for the second one. The same 2 preparation. The only difference is that now I'm not being prepared for the retrieval of the eggs. I'm just prepared now for pregnancy, you know. Of course, I had to first of all take some time off so that your pressure and the stress of having not conceived. Now this time you're trying to look every little thing that could have caused, what could have caused. Scientifically from the doctors, them they are saying from their end, they really cannot tell, they cannot explain, because everything was successful, the fertilization was successful, the putting the planting them or implanting them in my uterus was successful. So really, they cannot explain what happened. So you are trying to look at home. Did you eat anything that maybe could have caused? Did you do any exercise? Maybe you went to take a shower and maybe you are not careful enough. All those things you are trying to look at them. So for the second one, we want to be very, very careful to have it perfectly done. So for the second one, I remember it was of course, it's halfway the cost because we are not going through the full procedure, but now it's costly on the other side, where you're trying to make everything perfect from your end. Because I remember after the second procedure, we decided we are not going to travel so that we increase our chances. So imagine going into a hotel room, because we didn't want even to go like the way you would say to a family member who lives near, and we are thinking before tufike huko it might have interfered. So we are looking for the hotel that is as close to the hospital as possible. But I don't think that was so necessary, because you know that time you're going through that, maybe the other women you have met in that hospital, and I remember there is a lady who was coming from where? I think she was coming from, I can't remember exactly where, but what I remember is she was coming from far and hers was successful. So really it's not about traveling. That's what I believe now. So we had to take a hotel room somewhere close to the hospital so that we don't have any chances, we don't interfere with the eggs and all that, with the embryos. So I stayed for 2 weeks in a hotel room. My work was just to eat, sleep, ring the bell, service room. I even don't want to go to the hotel, like at the general room to eat from there. I would just want to be indoors, like completely. Now there you're just there praying God and hoping that all goes well, and you're very hopeful that this time you're not leaving anything, you're not putting anything to chance. Wow, again 2 weeks, you buy the pregnancy test, negative. You think that type of pregnancy test is the wrong one, so you go and buy a different brand, a higher brand, or you even ask which one is more expensive, because you're thinking it's about the cheap pregnancy test kit that you used. So you go buy another brand test kit. You test, negative. You say anyway, maybe it awaits the blood test, so you have to go for the blood test. So again, I went for the blood test. Unfortunately, negative again. So the second one, now it was negative again. Now this time, all the embryos have been used. So if you want to do another IVF procedure, unless now you repeat from the word go, the correction of the eggs and all that, then implantation again and the whole procedure, it's expensive, one, in terms of money. So, and also, I felt like, why should I try again? It has failed twice. Why should I try again? And now, among the whole group that we had, because now when you go there, you find other people who are like you are trying. And imagine among the whole group we had, it was just one woman who was able to conceive. One lady was able to conceive. And funny enough, she was a bit aged. And the rest of us, we failed. So it made me think like, I think IVF doesn't work. Because I was like, okay, well, it has worked for someone, but I thought maybe the rates of success are very, very minimal, and not what the doctors are telling you, that the rates are, well, those who are very sincere, they will tell you about 50-50, those who are very sincere, because even in the natural conception, it is 50-50, you can conceive either this month, the next one, or the next one. But when you go to other, they tell you that it is 70-30, 80-20, so he was very hopeful. But then I was left feeling it's not as high as they would try to imply. So for me, I felt IVF is not anything I would want to try again. But that doesn't mean there are no successful stories. There are many people. I know, mimi mwenyewe, I even know of a successful IVF case. So I know they are there. The children are healthy, they are growing well. So I know they are successful, but for my case, unfortunately, it didn't work. So you going on through that, going through another, so I think now 4 times in nimekunywa hiyo kitu because the first time for retrieval, then the next time when they are implanting them in their uterus, and then it was 2 times, and finally it didn't work. So I would want to encourage someone out there, if you're fighting with infertility, it's good to try. Even the IVF, it's very, very good to try. But I would also say it's also good to do your due diligence on the hospital that you're going, the facility where you want to have this procedure. Just like the other time I had a testimony of someone who went through IVF only to realize years later that there was nothing that was being done. So that hospital was just taking money from them. So later on, I know it's in the public domain, so I believe you have heard about that. So someone went through all those procedures and they were told they were unsuccessful, and kube, there was nothing. There's nothing that was being done. There was no IVF that was done. It was only done in papers and in terms of paying money, but actually there's nothing that was done. So it is very, very good, first of all, to investigate. Fanya tu uchunguzi chini ya maji. Don't just walk in a hospital and read their brochures and hear what they are telling you about their success rate. I would rather you search the real cases. Which are these real cases they are talking about? Is it anything that you're able to see? That. Rather than what is just written on the brochure, because I still feel, and especially now after hearing that lady who was giving a testimony, that later it was realized that hospital was a scam. There was nothing like IVF procedures that were being done in that hospital. So she was not alone. Everybody who ever went through that, there was nothing that was happening. It's like they were just correcting those specimens. Then yes, they would have embryos, but it's like they were using them for trafficking or something, selling them out or something of the sort. So do your due diligence. Also, they could be doing it, but they don't have enough or good equipment for the same. Like I would think I wasn't getting air, because I believe that lady was getting air. For me, I would want to feel like I wasn't really getting air, but I feel there was something. If you go to a better, I would say that, to a better facility than that, probably it would work. So I know of hospitals that I can testify of with other people, not with myself. So it's just do your due diligence to know that for sure what you're going for is quality, and after that, if you don't conceive, utajua tu that's completely the act of God. Mine, I was told it is the act of God. The gynae is not able to explain, and how I wish that when you hear such a report, you will have known for sure it's act of God, because you have checked everything else and you have realized that this is a good hospital, the facilities and everything is quality, and so there are no quack doctors and quack gynecologists in there, so you will be at peace knowing that it's just the act of God. And also it is also good to prepare yourself psychologically that it may happen, it may not happen. And also it is also good to prepare yourself financially, so that if in the case you successfully conceive, you don't use everything on that, and now you don't have anything left to carry on with your life. So that is my story. And why am I sharing that? What is the importance? Why did I feel that it is important for me to share that? I felt it's important because I know there's someone who may be considering IVF, but they are wondering IVF, how does it work? How does it happen? And all that. So that's why I thought I just share about my journey through the IVF procedure. Yes, so if you're there and it has helped you, like it. If it has nothing to do with you, share the content. It might be for someone else who want to see and to hear that testimony. So kindly, and yes, I normally say it is a testimony because I'm able to give that story when I'm smiling, when I'm laughing and all that. And like then, if it was then that Citizen TV was there, asking me how did you feel, whatever, blah blah blah, I would be crying and every handkerchief would be wet and all that. So if that is the time this is the time now you're going through that, and it is so painful for you that you have lost it, it didn't happen as you had wanted it to happen, imagine, be strong, you'll face tomorrow, you'll smile yet again. That's the reason as to why I shared my testimony, just to help you know that there is a good just to help you know that there is a tomorrow, and tomorrow can be happy with or without children. Thank you so much for listening. If you've not subscribed, kindly hit the subscribe button, share this information, yes, and see you on the next video. For now, bye.